I got married at 19 because back then that's just what girls like me did. We didn't chase careers or passions. We married decent men with steady jobs and hope for a house, a couple of kids, and maybe a washing machine that didn't flood the basement. My mother said I was lucky. He doesn't drink much, and he always comes home. That's more than most can say. We didn't have a big wedding. I wore my sister's old lace dress, altered in the waist with safety pins. The church basement smelled like coffee and old linoleum. I remember holding his hand and thinking, this is it, this is forever. Love in the beginning was full of noise and hope. He used to kiss me on the neck while I was frying eggs. We'd slow dance in the kitchen to songs on the radio. But as the years passed, love didn't die, it just faded, like wallpaper in the sun. We stopped dancing, we stopped touching. He worked longer hours, I folded more laundry. I had Lena first, then Anton, then my baby boy Petya. 3 different pregnancies, 3 different kinds of pain and joy. I remember rocking Lena at 2 a.m, her cheeks red from colic, and whispering, I don't know what I'm doing, baby girl, but I promise I'm trying. I remember Anton bringing home a stray cat in 2nd grade and crying when I said no, so we kept it. I remember Petya climbing into bed with me the night his father and I had our worst argument. He didn't say a word, just held my arm. We never had much. I clipped coupons religiously. I made birthday cakes from scratch even when I was sick. My clothes were second-hand, but my kids had what they needed. I worked nights cleaning offices when the bills piled up. I sold handmade scarves at church fairs. I didn't complain. Mothers like me don't complain. We just keep going. 10 years ago, my husband died, heart attack. He was changing a tyre. One moment he was there, muttering about the lug nut, and the next he was gone. The funeral was a blur. People brought casseroles and shook my hand too hard. I cried that night in the laundry room because it was the only place no one could hear me. Since then, it's just been me. And Petya. Lena visits sometimes. She has a husband who talks like a podcast and 2 kids who don't look up from their screens. She always has somewhere else to be. She's a regional director of something I can't pronounce. She sends me emails instead of cards. Once she told me, Mom, you need to modernize. Anton calls from places I've only seen on postcards. Portland, Denver, once somewhere in Spain. He says he's finding himself. I wish he'd find his way home for Christmas. And Petya? He never left. He's 43 and still in his childhood room. He works when he can, mostly online stuff I don't understand. He takes out the trash, brings me tea, keeps to himself. Then last Thanksgiving something snapped. All 3 kids were home. I made cabbage rolls and apple cake, the foods of their childhood. The table was set with the good plates. Petya forgot the sour cream, and Lena rolled her eyes. This isn't normal, Mum, she said. He's almost 50. He needs to get his life together. I stayed quiet. My hands were shaking, but I kept scooping potatoes. Anton leaned back and added, You gave everything to this family, but what about you? What do you even want now? And there it was, the question I couldn't answer. I wanted to scream, or cry, or run, but I just stood there, holding a dishcloth that suddenly felt so heavy in my hands. That night, after they all left, I sat in the dark living room with just the hum of the fridge and the ache in my knees. I looked around and saw a life built around everyone else, aching back and a loneliness so loud it hurt. I looked around my living room. Every photo, every blanket, every dent in the coffee table told the story of their lives, but nothing in that room said me. When did I disappear? I cried in the laundry room again, the same one I used to hide in, only this time I wasn't mourning him. I was mourning me. I started remembering things I hadn't let myself feel, like how I wanted to be a teacher, how I loved painting, how I used to sing while doing the dishes before the silence of marriage took over. I had a sketchbook I kept in a box with old tax forms, pages of flowers, faces, dreams. I hadn't touched it in 20 years. A week later, I told Petya he'd need to start looking for a place of his own. The look on his face was pure heartbreak, and guilt nearly swallowed me whole, but I had to choose me just this once. Lena called me dramatic. Anton offered to pay for a yoga retreat. I didn't want any of that. So I joined a watercolour class at the community centre. I started walking in the mornings. I even sat in a cafe alone. No book, no phone, just me and a cup of coffee I didn't have to reheat 4 times. And slowly I remembered that I'm still here. Last week I went to the beach by myself. I sat on a bench with a thermos of coffee and just listened to the waves. I didn't take a picture, I didn't text anyone, I just was. From my kitchen window I still watch the birds. I still miss them, each in their own way. But now when I look at the calendar, it has my handwriting on it too. Museum dates, local concerts, book club scribbles. My life is smaller than theirs, but it is mine, and if I could speak to any woman sitting in a quiet kitchen with a cold cup of coffee and a heart too full to name, I'd say this. Don't wait until 60 to come back to yourself. You were never selfish for wanting more. You were just always worthy of it.